If you are a nerd like me, you think it's really strange and really weird that the WWE is promoting Edge versus Randy Orton at Backlash as the greatest wrestling match ever. I mean, it just raises the bar too high, and also we know they can't achieve that because there's no fans in the building. You need fans if you want to enter greatest match status. Again, go and watch Hulk Hogan versus The Rock from WrestleMania 18. With the sound off, it is not the same. With that said, there is another main reason that it's quite bonkers, and that is that Vince McMahon, the owner of WWE, doesn't like the word wrestling. In fact, he hates the word wrestling. So now the word wrestling is back into the mix, and the big question, of course, is why. But it's not alone though, because there are just certain words you're not allowed to utter when you enter the WWE, and I'm about to give you 23 of them. Now look, this is based on a document that came out about 10 years ago, but the reason it's come back up is because of this Viper versus Rated R Superstar match, because everyone was like, wait, we're not allowed to say wrestling, what the hell happened? So yeah, here's a bunch of words that you're not allowed to say around Vince McMahon. Why? Here's why. I'll start with wrestling because I've already brought it up and I need to tell you the reason. But basically, Vince McMahon doesn't think that what he does is wrestling. That's what his dad did, and he sports entertains, and he makes movies, and he puts smiles on people's faces, pal. It's kind of been ingrained if you are a fan, but when you say that to anybody else, it's called sports entertainment, they flick your head like The Rock used to do and go, what? What Stone Cold Steve Austin used to do. The reason it has made a comeback though is apparently because of Paul Heyman. Now he loves the word wrestling, which stands to reason, and he somehow managed to convince Vince McMahon that you can use the word wrestling match as a stipulation even though it's exactly what people would tune in for when they saw wrestling on television. My brain hurts. It also means what the hell is going on right now? We've got no audiences and no fans, and now one of the stipulations on a pay-per-view is wrestling. And speaking of audiences too, you already know this, but we'll just double down and confirm it. Yes, we don't have fans in WWE, we have the WWE Universe. And I hate myself, because I remember when I first heard that term, I facepalmed like, oh, what are we doing? And now it just flies by me like I don't care. And even before that, when we did used to use the word fans, you had to say stuff like our fans and Roman Reigns fans. You weren't just allowed to say fans, I guess in case someone was watching and go, oh, well, they must be talking about hockey fans. No one is that stupid. I mean, that's probably why WWE Universe got brought in, because you can't mistake that for anything else. And again, if you listen to any kind of wrestling podcast, you know that Vince McMahon doesn't like semantics. And his favorite thing to say to writers is, semantics, pal, because you have to be very specific. Next up is belt or strap. And the reason we don't say belt is because a belt is something that holds your pants up. And I know that Vince McMahon is still into this, because when Drew McIntyre was doing all his media after winning the World Wrestling Entertainment Championship at WrestleMania 36, someone said, oh, you've got the belt there. And he says, it's not a belt is something that holds your pants up. I don't think that was coming from the Scottish psychopath. So I guess there is some logic there, and I'll actually say, I don't like the term strap either. When people do say strap, well, it sounds a little bit sexual. You know, you get strap and you whip people, and if you're into that, good for you. But also, yeah, it just sounds a bit rubbish. In at 4, it's the business, one of Triple H's favourite terms. If you go back to the Attitude Era and watch anything that Hunter Hearst Helmsley did, he was always going, I love the business, I'm all about the business. And he'd go up to random wrestlers and go, where's your wife? Oh no, wait, that was tough enough. And I guess because Vince sees wrestling as razzle-dazzle and all Hollywood, he wouldn't want to use a word that is equated with a place of work and sounds a bit like an office. Suppose it's boring. Next up is feud, and following that, war, and I can understand the latter. If there's a real war going on in the world, you don't want to then start saying that on your show. I mean, look what happened at WrestleMania 7 when we had Sergeant Slaughter versus Hulk Hogan, and WWE thought it'd be a great idea to have a narrative based on the Gulf War. It was awful then, and when you learn about it now, it is twice as bad. But feud, what the hell is wrong with feud? Especially when you put blood in front of it, and then you have a blood feud. I'm still excited for Edge versus Randy Orton, but if you tell me it's the best wrestling match ever, or you tell me they're gonna have a blood feud, I'm gonna start flexing and squeezing as hard as I can because I'm so excited. I guess, again, the other issue there is you ain't gonna get blood in a PG environment, but you know, you've lied to me before, lied to me again. Carrying on this illusion too, we have performance and we have performer. Now I understand the last one because a performer sounds a little bit like an actor or someone's acting, and if professional wrestling is meant to make you suspend your disbelief, well, the companies involved should be going out of their way to help you do that. But performance must be the most overused term in all the sports, so I don't get why we can't use it here. Like, you watch any game, they're like, oh, that guy, he had the performance of the night. Apparently Jim Ross is commentating on it. And I do think I see it from Vince's point of view, because that's not what his wrestlers are doing. They're not doing a performance, they're superstars. It's a little bit pedantic. As is the term house show, because you're not allowed to say that on television, but you can't argue this one. Again, go up to someone that doesn't watch wrestling and go, want to go to the house show? And I'm like, what? But if you say live event, which is approved, anybody can get their head around that. Although, given what's happening in 2020, we may never be getting a house show or a live event again. And that scares the absolute ass out of me. And let's move on, because you also have to take Backstage and throw that in the toilet, because if you do want to talk about that area, you say in the back or you say the locker room, and you know, I can kind of figure this one out. Because when you say Backstage, it sounds like you've set a scene, and it sounds like, once again, you're doing something that's fake. You don't want to think that there's an area that's separated from the reality in the ring, and that's what backstage sounds like, because you're not meant to go backstage. It all goes back to that suspending of disbelief thing. Well, actually, WWE doubles down on that. I quite like it, but as you can already see, that is not 100% of the case. One that is a little less clear is the term international, because instead you use global. I suppose global superstar kind of makes it sound wider and that we're covering the whole earth. But international's still a word. People know what international means. It also ties into the word foreign, because do you remember back in the day when a weapon used to be called a foreign object? That got thrown out of here because I guess some people thought it was offensive. So just call it a weapon. Sometimes you're watching a promotion and people call it an international object, and that is ridiculous. Following on from that, we have title shot, and I do believe even in 2020 this is a no-no term, because Braun Strowman accidentally said this in 2019 and came out in a podcast or an interview afterwards and went, yeah, when I did that, Vince McMahon may have had a little word with me, but you don't say title shot. And all I've got is that. I suppose shot sounds like a bullet from a gun, they're PG, and maybe somebody will go, oh, they're gonna shoot the title. I mean, you'd have to be really dumb. You'd have to be really stupid. I guess we're just tiptoeing on eggshells. You're also not allowed to say interesting or acrobatic. Now, I actually think interesting is quite a lazy word. It's like when someone says, oh, what's that guy like? And you go, they're nice. It's like, I can't do much with nice, but acrobatic just sounds brilliant. Like if Ricochet does a 1020 twist with a flip and a bundle at the end, whatever the hell that is, someone goes, oh, he's so acrobatic. I'm just gonna be like, yeah, what a perfect word to describe this man who can fly through the air. I suppose then somebody could like equate it to the Olympics, but is anything wrong with that? And you have acrobatics in the Olympics, and all of those guys are simply phenomenal. DQ is also not ideal, and how that is true, I will never know. It absolutely just confuses me. It confuddles me. Because who has more DQ finishes than WWE? And yet they would rather use said disqualification, because I think they don't think the WWE universe, or 100% of us, will know what DQ is. I mean, what do you think it stands for? Oh, it's a DQ. Oh no, Dennis Quaid got involved. Nobody is thinking that. Also, if you are, that is not WWE's fault, that is more on the individual. You also don't say the word talent again, you say WWE superstar, but WWE does actually use talent, but that's with the behind the scenes stuff. Like, if someone's been booked for a media appearance or a signing, on the paper, it will be called talent, but that's it, nowhere else. You also don't use insider terms like babyface and heel, and ain't no one gonna say that that was the wrong choice. Again, if you go up to someone that doesn't watch wrestling and you say, oh, he's a babyface, they look at you like you slapped their mother. They don't know what a babyface is. We just get lost in it because we're using these terms like we actually think we are wrestlers, but not everybody does. Even some people that watch wrestling. Also, US is gone. You don't say US, you say United States title. I don't know why. Which brings us to the best one of the bunch, which is, of course, you don't say hospital, you say local medical facility. Even though if you were bleeding to death and you went up to someone to help and said, please take me to the local medical facility, they would say, do you mean hospital? Because otherwise you just talking nonsense. I think McMahon just thinks that it sounds too vicious, and that the fans, WWE Universe, may actually go to hospitals near the arena if they said that. Where again, if you try and find a local medical facility, you're just gonna be running around like a dog chasing his tail. You also don't get factions, you get groups, and nothing is on sale, and instead is now available. Some of these. Nobody also puts the title on the line because the title gets defended, and bringing you right into the modern day, you're not allowed to mention the thing that is currently halting the world and causing a global pandemic. And the reason I won't say is that YouTube actively seeks out that word and will punish your video because there's a bunch of crazy people out there making conspiracy videos, so YouTube has just blanketed the term. However, that's not why WWE is doing it. Obviously, they're live on television. It's because they want you to pretend, or at least make you think, that nothing is wrong and everything is hunky-dory, even though when you turn it on, you go, well, it's awfully silent in here. There's no people. Oh yeah, it's because of that. The good news, of course, is that the word wrestling has just made a comeback, so who knows what else could be on this list. In fact, someone did say hospital the other day as well. A new dawn may be on the cards. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you think about all of this madness. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to What Culture Wrestling. Head over to whatculture.com, read yourself some articles, follow What Culture on Twitter, What Culture WWE, and watch more videos here on What Culture Wrestling. My name is Simon from What Culture, and my only banned word is enemy, because all you guys are my friends. I hate myself too.